Do you need answers for these insurance questions like, when do I need to add a licensed or permitted driver to my auto policy? Or how about this question? When should I place a life policy on my baby or young child? And should I buy a policy? The answers to these questions and more will be discussed tonight on Understanding Insurance. Today is Thursday, April 11th, 2019, and welcome to Understanding Insurance, a video blog brought to you by Guyor Insurance Agency and IBU. And I want to say thank you for joining us. Hi folks, it's David Guyor again, and I appreciate you all joining me today for tonight's episode or live video blog. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is David Guyor, and I'm the owner and agent for for Guyor Insurance Agency, and I'm the Vice President and Marketing Manager for IBU. IBU stands for Benefits Unlimited. In that company, we deal with strictly health insurance. So that would be group or individual health insurance. But I want to thank you again for joining us tonight. And I have been in the insurance industry for 10 years. But I want to show you something here. Let me get my buttons all working. Here we go. Oh, I do want to cover this. Today's topic is going to be myths about auto insurance and is life insurance products good for kids. So if this is something that sounds interesting, I just want you to stay tuned. But y'all remember this show right here? This was a show out, it was a sitcom back in 2009. 2009. Royal Pains was the name of it. And the characters were Hank Lawson. He was a brilliant doctor who found it hard to get a job after one of his patients had died. And through that death, which was not his fault, a hospital in the regions would refuse to hire him. So he had a brother named Evan, took him to the Hamptons, the home of the rich and the famous, so that he could temporarily have a break. I guess Hank was depressed about not getting a job and being shunned from the medical society. And so while at this party, the character Hank saves a life of some celebrity. So this millionaire convinces him to stay and treat the people of the area, kind of a concierge for people, so that their health ailments and stuff wasn't being exposed. So that I'm using as an example of what the purpose of this weekly video blog. I want to first help and educate y'all, but I want to prove to you that I need to be your insurance agent. And so let's call it your own concierge insurance agent. Now you might be going, I don't really need one of those. But folks, what's going on in our industry is things are changing. And what I see changing is I'm talking about we as agents are being forced by insurance companies. Now, I'm self-employed, or I own my own agency, and I'm an independent agent. So I pick and choose the carriers that I want to do business with. Some people that work for the state farms and the farm bureaus and Allstate, those are captive agents. And so they basically work for a company that dictates to them what they can sell, how many of those things they can sell, and so on. So what you might be experiencing personally is that when you have a claim, when you have a billing problem, those kind of things, those items are handled by a receptionist or the head office. You don't necessarily get to talk to your agent. Now, the agent's there real quickly to sell you, but they're not there to service you. And that is what I'm trying to do in this video blog. I pretty much spent a couple of days thinking of ideas or things that clients either feed me or experience through the work week of what clients go through, and that's where we come up with the topics. But as I've done this for 10 years, I have learned that so many folks are frustrated with their agent. They're not happy that they're not getting service. And just like me, I have multiple policies: car, home, got some toys. I'm talking about like boats. If you got four-wheelers, what about a vacation home? What about health insurance? life insurance. So the point is that the agent is supposed to walk with you hand in hand and not just be a sales guy. And so in today's society, with the way insurance carriers are making their agents work to sell product and not so much service, that's where the concierge idea came from, the royal pain idea. So what I'm doing with this video blog, like I said, is, first I want to help educate y'all and hopefully be able to, like I said, be your concierge. And again, why? Because when you call me, you're going to get me. You're not going to get my receptionist, because I no longer have a receptionist. I personally deal with my clients one-on-one. I walk with you hand in hand. That means when you call, you're going to get me. We work through the problems. If there's a claim, I walk with you hand in hand. And if you have any messages, or if you have to leave a message, hey, I'm going to be on the phone quite a bit. Most people are, but ultimately you're going to personally get a call back from me. Nobody else, not a receptionist, not anything like that. So this weekly video blog is there to educate and make you aware of any changes in the insurance world and how it could affect you. And hopefully you will realize that in this format that you can also, I don't know, if we've worked on a lot of things to get the system where my lips and my words meet, but we have it to where we can actually take live video or live text. So that's what that window is right there. It's over there. Is if you have a question, you can live text me through Facebook and I can answer your questions, or you can call this number up front right there, 831-5996, and I can answer your questions there. So, but we'll just get to moving right along here. I guess the first thing I want to talk about, which we always try to cover, is insurance news that matters. What is going on in the insurance world today? Well, overall, it's been a very quiet week, so not much to report. I will say this, that the SB 520 that you heard me talk about in the last couple weeks, and if you're a partner with me on my Facebook page, which is a great place to learn during the week of what could affect you in the insurance world in Arkansas. This SB 520 was to clarify the regulations and concerns on pharmacy management and how a dispensary fee was going to be charged. And yeah, unfortunately, it did pass. It is sitting on the desk of Governor Huckabee and Asa Hutchinson. I'm sorry, Asa Hutchinson, and he'll probably sign into bill. What that means, in short, really is it guarantees a profit for pharmacies in Arkansas. It has an emergency clause that says that an increase in dispensing fees would take place immediately upon the governor's signature, which we expected to have. I went and looked, and it was like 0 nays. 95 of the senators voted for it, so it was a landslide for them. But each prescription would have approximately a $10 fee. So, folks, you got to get out there and listen. Join my Facebook page. Be a partner there. I'll keep you informed there. Watch this video blog. We've already uploaded to YouTube, and we'll do that every week on Friday so that anybody can find this out there on YouTube and that. But it's a law, so get ready for that. There's nothing we can do. The so-be-its have made it a law, and it will take effect. The other one was this SB 480. This was a little complicated one. I will say I was very pleased in how it turned out. It went back and forth. The sponsor of the bill was not getting the votes that he was needing to get this passed, and so they did go back and make some changes that kind of helped Arkansans from. It was going to be kind of a windfall in the sense that. Billing and who could sell insurance to Arkansans. It just had a bunch of stuff. But how it's going to affect y'all and myself, because I have health insurance, is that surprise billing. And that act has been effective. Matter of fact, they call it, I didn't write it down, but basically what's going to happen is if your insurance company chooses not to pay a specific amount on from, let's say you go in for surgery and you have a specialist and that specialist is not in the network, that's surprise billing. So that means that you'll get a bill from that specific, let's say, anesthesiologist. So get ready. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see how this stuff plays out. Was not happy, to be honest. I was not happy. I put it on Facebook. This one seemed to get a lot of pushback, but the other one didn't. So we're just going to move right along. As you can tell, I'm a little frustrated with how insurance is working in our world today. But hey, let's get to what we were going to talk about today, which is myths about auto insurance. Myths and facts. But first, let me answer the question I posed earlier. And that question was, when do I add a new licensed or permit driver to my auto policy? Well, to be honest, get ready. The answer is we're talking specifically about a young or new driver in the family. So if you have a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old, first, if they are only 15 or younger and have their driver's permit only, they just have a driver's permit, by law, they cannot drive the car alone. So that being said, they don't need to be added to your insurance because you're going to be with them at all times. But once that little critter turns 16 years old, you're going to have to add them to that policy because not only can they drive by themselves, but they are looked at by the carrier as a frequent driver. And does this have to, and they're going to have to pay for any claims. So if you forget when they turn 16, usually the insurance company finds out by running MVRs, and they have ways, it's an insurance company, but ultimately you want to kind of remind yourself once that critter turns 16, get them added to your insurance policy, because if they have an accident, which my daughter had a little boo-boo, it wasn't her fault, but if they do have an accident, you're going to want to hope that is paid. The other thing I want to talk about, which is if these hardship licenses, Arkansas is a state that allows kids that are under 16 to have a hardship license. And these hardship licenses are really to go and from school, if they have a part-time job after school or on weekends, it's to go there only. They can have, and these are kids that have the driver's permit. They have finished and took the driver's test, but they're just not licensed. They're under 15. They can have a sibling with them, only siblings in the car, no one else. And so they have the right to drive without you in the vehicle, but you need to check with your carrier because most carriers don't have a problem with it, but you do want to check with them. You just never know. Remember, a driver is not a right, but a privilege by the state of Arkansas. I always want to tell people that. It's funny how, we all see the YouTube videos and stuff, and people get upset with their officers, but I'm just going to read some of my notes I wrote down. It says, always comply with those police officers who serve and protect us. Come on, folks, we got to get behind them. And if there is a differences in the views of the law on how the officer, interprets it, or how you, the driver, interprets it, that's what you just need to, while engaging with the officer, you just be polite, and that's what our courts are for. Go to the courts and plead it there. But I tell folks all the time that, and even my kids, I've got 4 children, and the 3 that were driving, I always let them know that cars kill people, and the word accident is just that. It's an accident. It wasn't meant to happen, but that's what happens. And I always tell kids and anybody I talk to, cars can kill people. You see it all the time. So teach your new driver to be responsible. As a parent, you definitely need to understand you take the responsibility of that child while they're out there on the road, especially if they're underneath your insurance policy and live underneath your roof. So you take that burden as well, so keep that in mind. But insurance carriers that give discounts to drivers like kids would be the driving school. I know we've got good friend of mine, Brad, his daughter's in a driving school, and then you can get a good student if they got a good student grades. If they've got good grades, then you can get a discount there. But another thing I wanted to cover today, and I keep pushing these wrong buttons. The other thing I want to call today to kind of go through is myths and facts. I wanted to go through about 8 different myths. This first one says, when do I add my new driver or permanent driver to the auto policy? We just covered that. The next one, can I let anyone drive my car? Sure you can. That would be a yes. But you take all the financial risk minus the BI, which stands for bodily injury. What that means is if I call you up and say, hey, buddy, I need to borrow your truck to go move something, you say, sure, no problem, David, then I can borrow his truck. But if I wreck it, his insurance company pays to fix his car, not mine. The only time my insurance company pays is if I hurt somebody. And if you hurt somebody and you don't have insurance in Arkansas, that's a felony. You go to jail for that. So you do want to ask, if your friend has insurance, because you don't want that to come back on you. But the key thing is yes, you can let anybody drive your car. I say no if the driver is a family member living with you and is not on your policy. See, what that means is it's just like that 16-year-old driver. If they're not on your policy, the insurance company looks at it as you're just trying to cheat them out of money. They live in the household, so they don't have to pay the claim. So keep that in mind. Here's the next one. Color determines the price of my auto insurance. That's a big one. I always hear this all the time. That is funny. I thought it too when I was a kid. My dad always said, yeah, you get that red car, which I did have one of those. And it was a sports car, but no. I like this little word that I heard. It says, arrest me red or hide me in plain sight white. So it doesn't matter if you have a red car or a white car. Your insurance is not based on the color of the car. It is really based on a lot of different factors. Age of the auto, age of the driver, clue reports, motor vehicle reports, and so on. So no, color of a car does not matter. Here's another one, myth or facts. It costs more to insure your car when you get older. That is a maybe. That is a maybe. I'm seeing this happen more often with my senior drivers. The older drivers can cost more because of their age. And what it is basically the reactions, as they get older, they don't have the quick reactions and stuff like that. They just are more of a risk. Unfortunately, our seniors are living a little bit longer, and I've had a few of them hit their own fences, go bump into their own other vehicles in the driveway, and those are kind of sad, but it happens. But AARP or AAA offers accident prevention courses, but you need to check with your carrier because this could be another way of how you might be able to save some money if you are one of these older drivers. Here's another myth and fact. Your credit has no effect to your insurance rate. That's wrong. That is wrong. No, a clue report is ran when we do a car quote and a soft credit hit. And basically, if you are not responsible in paying your insurance premiums, that comes in on your clue report. Of course, other things I brought up earlier about your motor vehicle report, those kind of things. So, yes, credit, specifically about credit, it does affect your rate. And I checked that out. Actually, I had a neighbor of mine years ago. I had a motorcycle, and he was interested in purchasing it. Same age, within a year. We lived right next door to each other, so everything was fairly mimic. We were close in age and so on. But when I ran the rate, because he said, well, hey, how much did it cost me on insurance? When I ran his was higher. And not to tear anybody down, but I just could tell his insurance credit score was kind of low. So yes, credit is a factor. in the insurance world today. It's unfortunate, but it's true. All right, what's our next myth? Our next one is your insurance will cover you if your car is stolen, vandalized, damaged, or falling tree limbs, hail, fire, all the above. Is that true? Maybe. I say maybe, but you have to have the correct coverage. So, comprehensive, folks will say the word, well, I've got full coverage. Well, the key is do you have comprehensive and collision? Comprehensive is the part of your auto policy that covers things that fall from the sky or that runs in front of that vehicle. So trees, if you hit a deer, if you accidentally drive it into a high water road and it floods out, does cover theft. Hail that falls from the sky. Things that hit you, comprehensive does cover. And then collision, it is specifically for when you hit things. That's kind of the best way to think of it. If you hit things, you hit another vehicle, you hit a light pole, you're seeing more and more people hit buildings. So is my insurance cover for these type things? It does if you have comprehensive and collision. Here's our next one. You only need a minimum amount of auto liability required by law. Is that truth or fact? No. My answer is you don't need anybody, if it gets down to insurance, the way I tell folks is I would rather you have, and our state has, it's called 25, 50, 25. That means $25,000 worth of bodily injury to one person or a maximum of $50,000 worth of bodily injury, and then the last number, 25, that's how much property damage your policy would cover. I would rather have somebody that has consistently lapsed in insurance and not had insurance. I'd rather them have those minimums, 50, 25, 50. 25, 50, 25. It's because if they hit my child, I want them to have insurance, and I hope you all see the same thing for yourself. So when the question asked is, should I buy just the minimum? I always say no, mainly because if you hit a vehicle nowadays, most of these vehicles are not $25,000. They're up. I mean, hit a Chevy S10 now. Oh my word. Well, the Chevy 1500. I'm sorry, I'm thinking S10. The Chevy 1500. I mean, you're getting up to $43,000, $50,000 vehicles. So if you get that minimum, the state minimum, 50, 25. Or if 20, 55, 25, that's the property damage, it's going to come short and you are going to be out money. If you really hurt someone or possibly kill somebody, that first number up to $25,000 is really not enough. And I have business owners insured, so again, being their agent, being wise of the big picture, is when I get just their business insurance and get to know them, I try to learn a little bit more about their personal insurance, and because I have a big interest here. And I will ask them, is this a company vehicle you drive here to work, or is this a personal vehicle? And by the way, since you're a business owner, you might want to watch out because you're a driving target. If anybody knows you own a business, let's be honest, they think you've got money. I've owned multiple businesses, and sometimes I've had multiple businesses going, and it's because I took those just to make a living in this world. So, yeah, you need to look for that. I want to keep going because we got a couple more things I'd like to cover. The other myth or fact is personal auto insurance covers business use of your car. So personal auto insurance also covers business use of your car. I'm sorry. The answer to that is maybe. And what I say by that is if you are an Uber driver or an electrician or plumber or self-employed like that, and you definitely have a sign on your auto, beware, because that's those folks I was just talking about earlier. If they find out you're a business owner or you're using it for business use, it's their lawyers. It's not them. It's their lawyers that are going to come after you. If you're a Mary Kay, if you sell Mary Kay or you do something like that, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you don't have to have these type business policies, but understand this. We live in a world today where if you hit me, every law firm is going to send me some type of letter saying, have you been hurt? And if I was, let's say I'm not getting my way with your insurance company. You hit me, my car's broke, my back's hurting, and your insurance company's not willing to service me, I just might pop a gasket and have one of these ambulance chasers deal with it. Well, one of the things that they're going to do and find out, and they'll find out, is was that driver that hit me, was he a business owner? And then they're going to go after what they think is a commercial insurance policy, which usually has $1 million worth of coverage. That's just because you can see they're a business owner, and as an agent, I'm going to put $1 million in those commercial auto. That's just a standard. So be aware of that, the ambulance drivers and people that are out there trying to make a profit off insurance. And again, that's kind of why we have high insurance rates. So we're going to change subjects to the next thing, and that is, oh, isn't that cute? That is my lovely daughter and her handsome son, which we like to refer to as Richard. Now, we love Richard. And they were gracious to bless me and my wife with our grandbaby, and that is Kennedy. And we want to thank Kaylin for being the photographer. She came to their home and did that. But I want to just show you a few other pictures. Here's another one of Kennedy. Isn't she cute? There's nothing like having a grandchild. Nothing like it. But I want to show you, you see how old she was there. Look at her now. This was just yesterday. She's 4 months old. Cute as a button. But the reason why I'm bringing that and showing you that is because is life insurance product good for kids? And having 4 children, you know, kind of on a sad note, some of you know me personally, some of you don't. But we have 4 children, and we still do. But our third child had passed away last year. And he was only 16, and as an agent, if you don't believe in the products that you sell, then you really shouldn't be in this business. But I had life policies for all the kids, as well as myself and my wife. And we, unfortunately, were a recipient of that life policy. But I wanted to show you these different brochures. This just came in. This is actually one that I had for Drake. But now that we have Kennedy, I was talking to Shay and Richard about this, the importance of getting these things. So why should I have one of these? Yes, I say get them. The biggest thing is one never knows what life brings you, just like us. I mean, it'll be a year May 9th, and so we would have never known we were going to ever use the policy and lose Drake. The other item is it's very affordable at this time of their life. But if you want to do the math, I'm going to show this a little closer right here. Now, again, agents usually, or I usually don't like pushing products, but since I'm a recipient of this, you see this number right here, $6.50. And so for Kennedy, yeah, that's just not going to show up. So let me show you the slide that I did. She's so cute. So cute. Okay, so here's the thing. I love this policy, or this company, and this whole life policy is, for Kennedy's reason, is she's 4 months old. As long as the child is under a year old, they get the maximum amount that this product, what do they call it? It's children, grandchild, and students through Citizens Fidelity, and they're a local company. But look right here at the math. For a 4-month-old, like I said, up to a year old, $6.50 per month. If you times that by 12 months, that's $78 a year. Now, this policy is unlike normal whole life policies in the fact that it is paid in full, at $6.50 a month. It is paid up in full in 20 years, which makes your total investment to the insurance company of $1,560. Now, because we purchased this policy before she turned 1, she gets the maximum amount that this company, this carrier, this product offers. And she would, if something happened, Shay and Rick would receive $10,968 upon her death. Let me tell you, that when Drake passed away, that was something the burden was, I didn't even have to think about anything. It wasn't about how we're going to take care of the funeral and the expenses and all that stuff. We've unfortunately lost some other family members, and we've watched some people have to help pay for some of these, grandparents and stuff's funerals. So I always tell people, be responsible. Don't let your death be a burden to your children, and there's nothing wrong to think the other way. I mean, life insurance is a product, and I do believe in it, but it needs to be sold correctly. The last slide I want to show you on this is, so if you took that $10,968, that's what that policy is going to be worth. Look at this. What type of investment paying in $6.50 a month, totaling $1,560, would give one over a 70% return, guaranteed return in just 20 years. Tax-free too, folks. Tax-free. So contact me if you have a child. This plan, these go all the way up to 24 years old. $6.50 a month. I believe in it. I've experienced it. I've used it. And I know I've talked about life insurance, but like I said, the weeks as life goes through and events happen during the week, me and Richard were just talking about life insurance. So I appreciate y'all watching this week. I would love to hear from you. You can text me, call me. The contact information is there. If you guys need or have any questions about anything I spoke about tonight, again, just contact me. I appreciate you watching, and we will see you next week on another episode of Understanding Insurance.